recording recording this session of Sacred Segments on Wednesday, the 12th of April 2023. I honestly do forget time, and I also do forget days because time is a strange animal. I believe we can control time. I believe we can speed up time and slow down time. It's malleable. It's amazing, right? We were talking just before we started recording. I was talking with Anna about signs from the universe, and particularly animals, and in the shamanic tradition, how we have the understanding, certain shamanic traditions, I should say, that when an animal appears in your life, or on your path, that animal, whatever it is, whether it's a bird, or an insect, or animal, even fish, that they hold significance in their symbolism. And Anna said, not all the time, unless you're tuned into that realm. You see, I do think it's all the time.
Well, no, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. I just meant, like, it doesn't mean that, as you go about your life, every single animal you see is giving you a message. That's what I mean.
Yeah. I see. I got you.
Yeah.
Well, what I was going to say on the back of that, I do think it's all the time. I think that the universe or life is always giving us messages at every moment.
Yeah,
Would you agree with that?
I would. Yeah. Yeah. And if we're listening.
I see number sequences. Even something like clouds, or we get the idea of pennies from heaven, feathers, when feathers appear and the angels are near.
Mhm.
Um, oh, I just realized that rhymed. I never knew that rhymed, which is lovely. So, Anna, you mentioned that you have a fiesta in your town today,
Yeah.
and that you were having mouse problems and that you might not be able to mute.
This kind of a mouse, right? Yeah. I mean,
And
so
Bonnie,
far it's just I've got
go ahead, Anna.
no, I just that's all. Like I'm just worried that it's not going to work. That's all.
Okay, okay.
Hello. But if I mute myself, are you able to then unmute me when it's my turn?
I'm not sure. Shall we try it?
Yes.
But maybe we shouldn't try it. Just stay
Right
unmuted.
now it's working. Right now it's working.
Just stay unmuted. It's fine.
Sure. I don't want, because I'm worried about the noise from the
Don't
fiesta.
worry about it. If it gets uncomfortable, we'll deal with it.
I mean, you'll tell me if it's
I
fine.
will. I will be
I
very
can close
vocal.
my door. I can.
Don't worry. It's all fine. Welcome, Anna,
Hi.
that's joined us. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, okay. We had that incident last night with my partner.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Who
Sorry
hit
about that.
his head, and we got out of the hospital at 5 a.m. But we're doing okay. My partner's resting right now. So we're talking about signs. Just before that, I wanted to mention, Bonnie, you're dealing with pink eye, and I'm sorry about that.
Oh,
How are you, other than that?
How am I? Um, at a big question mark. And I've been trying to do, and I'm not a tarot reader. I struggle with it, but I've been trying to get a message for myself through using cards, and pretty much I've used like 8 different decks, and they all seem to be telling me the same thing.
And what's that?
I'm sorry.
And what's the same thing?
Well, as I'm okay, I got one that, because Anna reads, I have this one deck that just scares the living hell out of me. Okay, every time I pick it up, it's something really cool. And then I have those that I love that are always just wonderful. So I took about 8 decks, and I took some from all the ones I like and some from the ones I don't. And it was basically giving me the same information, but from different perspectives. And so the information was to not slow down, but open to a different intake, and to set myself aside and just open up to other thoughts, other thinking. And
Wow.
that's where I'm at.
That's really interesting, because I know I wanted to mention that I know that you don't. You mentioned on a message in a group message that you don't believe in angels, and
I don't.
no, that's cool. But I wanted to say
Okay.
that I personally have had some kind of experiences with that realm, which has only led me to believe that there was some kind of energy, whatever they are.
Well, let me break in here and tell you that when I was in my Christian days, from 1970 to 1998, when I was a traditional Christian, not Gnostic, but traditional, I too had mystical experiences with angels.
Right.
Whether or not they're the same, I don't know. Who knows?
Well, I wanted to say that I've done sort of courses in communicating with angels and stuff like that.
Right.
And the teacher really annoyed me because he made this very complicated approach at working with the angels and calling them on a particular day, using a particular sign. And, I said to him, it doesn't have to be that complicated. You just use your mind. Just use your thoughts, right? And like, as soon as you have the thought is creative. And here's my point. I'm going to get to the point. Whether they exist or not, I think that is not the power behind that idea of angels. I think that man or humans have created energy, thought forms through belief and believing in something other than themselves. And whatever it is that exists, that thought form exists as an idea, right? As an energy body. And
well, it's like what's behind you. You don't, I don't know if you see the geometrical design.
Yes.
Okay. So that energy is in all different directions, and it's energy. And so all of us have our belief systems that are stemmed from energy, our own energy coming from within us. So it's all energy based.
Exactly. And I'm going to call, as we go into this session, I'm going to call on the angels of the four directions and above and below. Okay. And I just wanted to call upon whatever energy represents that direction. So Raphael, calling on Raphael from the east, Michael from the south, Gabriel from the west, Uriel from the north, Sandalphon below, Metatron above. And the idea of the octahedron shape, which is the vessel that the spirit symbolizes. And we call on those energies to be with us. I wanted to draw a card for this session from the Law of Attraction deck from the teachings of Abraham, Esther, and Jerry Hicks. And this is a Law of Attraction card. We're talking about card decks and messages. I'm just going to randomly pick one. And here we go. This is what I got. It says, I cannot create in the experience of another, which is all about, our individual thoughts, right? And we all have different experiences and we all see the world in our different worldview. And on the reverse, it says, you cannot create in the experience of another because you cannot think their thoughts. What you can do for them is set an example of joy and become a being who thinks only of that which you are wanting, who speaks only of that which you are wanting, and who does only that which you are wanting, and therefore brings forth only joyful emotion. So I just wanted to talk about that just for a minute or two between us, and for you all to give like a little feedback on the idea of what that might mean. I mean, I'll start, and I think that for me, it means modeling a vibration. So if I choose the idea of joy and I think into, okay, I want to be joyful, I want to be happy, whatever's going on around me, whatever chaos, that by my thoughts I will embody that experience and then eventually emotionally catch up to it, whether I'm joyful or not. That's what it means for me. Annalie Stone, tell me what you think.
Well, it's just like with spell work, right? Like you act as if, right? You have to embody, like if you can't just say, I want this and then do nothing like in accordance with it. It's not, things don't just fall into your lap that way. So you have to know that this is what's coming. It's not a matter of when or, what, why, or where. It's like a matter of it's a matter of when, rather. Like it's not a matter of if it's going to happen. It's when it will happen to me. It's already on its way to me. You literally have to embody the whole spirit of it. And once you know it, that's manifestation. And that's what's so hard for people to do. That's why spell work doesn't work for everybody, because you can't just forget, and walk about your day and just, as if. People always are constantly in their minds about, did I do it right? Is it working? Is it not working? Comparing themselves to everybody else. So when we stop that and we just know and have faith in our own ability to create our desired outcome, that's when I think we find the most success. Personally, that's what I think.
I'm pretty sure I know what you mean, and I'm pretty sure I understand what you're saying. But just to clarify, are you kind of saying that as we declare something and as we know it, then we are sort of declaring it to the universe, and then it happens?
Right. It's like you fake it till you make it kind of vibe.
Yeah.
It is. It's like, you act as if, like it's already it's always the constant. If you find yourself questioning if it's going to happen, you change that narrative right away to, when will it's coming, I'm just waiting.
Cool.
Because you have to attract, your energy has to attract what it wants. And if you're pushing and pulling with yourself, it's confusing that energy. So you have to just know.
Yes. Thank you for that. And welcome Greta that's joined us. You look very studious.
You're muted, my dear.
Hey,
Oh, you're muted. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm dog sitting my sister's puppy.
Oh,
And
cute.
we need to be outside for a little bit.
Lovely. Is that snow behind you?
Yes.
Wow. Amazing.
Well,
Okay, so you'll pick up what we're talking about in just a second. I won't go into it. Bonnie, I want to ask you what you thought of that card, and that idea that we were talking about. I cannot create in the experience of another, and manifesting joy or whatever it was. What do you think?
Well, okay. I think that I'll use an example. My cousin has invited me to a manifestation meeting this evening. And so I know that she's really into it, but we're into different types. So I was reluctant to say yes. And I had something else to do. And I was very happy about that I had something else to do. But so I got to thinking about it. Well, that's kind of snooty of me not to go with my cousin, and hear what she's thinking. And surely I could learn something, So we have to open up. That's just the way it is, and do our best to agree but disagree. You know what I mean? Just okay. So I told you I don't believe as the traditional Christian beliefs. I left that in 1998. I took on Gnostic Christianity, which included a lot more. But
Yes.
even after your death experience, I found that wasn't even my case. Although the Sumerian temples were there, that's definitely kind of Anunnaki thinking. But I don't know, it's very frustrating.
Can I ask you a question?
Uh-huh.
You mentioned your cousin has a different belief, manifestation belief,
Yes.
to you. I'm interested to know what that is.
Hers is more the traditional. I can't think of the name. I can find the name of the guy that she wants me to go with on Zoom tonight with her.
Okay.
But I can't think of his name. But he's one of the traditional teachers of it. And this guy that I was in his group for a long time, Jim Self, was one of the original teachers of it. And he's absolutely fascinating. But I had to leave Jim because we have different beliefs, core beliefs.
Right.
And that interfered. And I'm so sorry because I really love and appreciate his teaching. But we're at different core understandings, and he can't understand me and I can't understand. It's not, you know what I mean? It's hard.
You know, you reminded me of something that I heard recently when you said I'm sorry, and
Yeah.
it triggered a memory of something that I read or heard, and it was never be sorry for who you are.
Well, I feel like I'm missing Jim, that part of Jim's teaching that I really so much appreciated.
Yeah.
But then there's that other part that if you don't do what I say, then you can't do the, so it's very complicated. It gets complicated. And
People
I
are
get to
complicated.
a bit of the time.
Are you talking about gatekeeping, Bonnie? Are you talking
About
about like gatekeeping?
About what keeping?
Is it like gatekeeping you're talking about? Like, is it like, well, you have to like, I'm not going to give you any other way to do it other than this particular way that's like I've fashioned or coined, I don't know. Like, what do you mean? Like,
okay, when he is doing his illumination, his when you meditative states. Okay, so he for 2 years I was in this class. I went through level 2. This did not open up until the end of level 2, and he started saying, "You will accept this with the Holy Spirit. You must accept what I'm saying through the Holy Spirit." And I've already been through all that. And I did not want to jump back in there and say, "Oh, yeah."
That sounds controlling.
No. I'm sorry?
That sounds controlling.
Very controlling.
I can totally understand why you
control anybody else either. I'm not a controller. So when I see
No.
that I'm trying to control somebody, I'll back off and I'll say, "Hey, you guys go with what you."
This raises a really important issue, and that is to go with your gut always, and really go with your feeling and intuition. It's always right.
Right.
it wouldn't work anyway. Like if you don't believe that, like, you know what I mean? Like if that's what, if he's telling you to do that and
Right.
that's not your belief system, it's not going to work. It's going to be completely fruitless effort. So,
But worked for almost 2 years, and then he throws that in, and then it turns off.
because it's going against your core beliefs. Like again,
Right.
like it's costing you, like the cost is too high for that to work. That energy
And it's
exchange is
not
already voided.
against the Holy Spirit or anything. Like for anybody else, that is your deal. That's fine. But you must not say you've got to, and you know what I mean?
I'm going to ask. I'm sorry. I'm going to move to Anna. Anna Pavlakis, and ask the same question. What thoughts did it bring up for you?
Now I'm forgetting what the card said.
Okay, so it said, "I cannot create in the experience of another," and it was talking about so I drew the Abraham Hicks card, and it said, you know, to think of, set the example of joy, become a being who thinks only of that which you are wanting, and to speak only that which you are wanting, and do only that which you're wanting. So to actually embody the thing that you want to create.
Yeah, I mean, I think the speaking part is, I like what Anna said about fake it till you make it. I was, because I was thinking the same thought. But if you're speaking it without the feeling behind it, the emotion,
Good point.
then it's empty, because it's about the frequency that is being carried through there. You know, it's the energy behind it. So if you're speaking the words without feeling it, the words, it's hollow, and it actually could be the opposite. If your energy, if your frequency is the opposite of the words that you're speaking, the words themselves are not going to have maybe the same meaning, right? I think what's more important is the energy, the feeling, the emotion.
Yes.
Mhm.
You know,
Behind it. That said, yeah.
you reminded me of, you know, like when people go to church and they say a prayer.
Yeah.
And they're just kind of like mouthing the words out of memory, and you know, there's like no feeling behind it. Today, I did some dynamic prayer, and if you haven't heard of what dynamic prayer is, it's when you imbue it with like feeling. It's like a declaration, and like you put a lot of feeling, and it's all spontaneous and inspirational, right? So it's kind of like the same thing that you're talking about. Um, and the difference between that and just sort of saying these dead and empty words,
Yeah.
it's all about intention and vibration, like you say. That's a really good point you raised.
But not just intention. I think it's really emotion.
You know, and whether you believe in that outside entity or not, it
The
doesn't
feeling
matter.
in your body.
It's you creating the spell.
If you have the intention here, if you have the intention here, but it's not matching the way you feel, then they're working against each other.
Oh yes, that's another interesting point you've raised about having counter intentions, because you can say something but not actually feel it. And I suppose, Greta, the work that you do taps into that whole field, right? Of what's underneath. You know, what do you think of this idea? I'm going to put that question to you, Greta, before we move on as well. You know, so I drew an Abraham card, and it was, I cannot create in the experience of another. You know, we all have this individual experience, and talking about connecting with the vibration and doing only what you love, and, you know, focusing on the thing that you want to create. What's your thought about that whole thing?
It's really funny because the reason I'm late is on Wednesdays, I'm on a call with my shamanic school before sacred segments. So that's why I'm late. And what we were discussing before we ended that call was, they call it, it's one of the pillars of this shamanic, I don't know what to call it.
Leaf?
Yeah. It's get really good at mastering, or, you know, the God Almighty syndrome. And one of the things that I thought was that Abraham quote, "You cannot create in the experience of another." So,
And that was the card that I drew.
yeah, which links together my two meetings really well.
Wow.
And so we talked about not taking responsibility for other people's things. Like, if you're a healer, it's not your responsibility that the other person heals. Or if you're a doctor, it's not. It's
Wow.
you can assist and help all you can, but you cannot take responsibility, because that's also taking that person's power. And at one point I had someone ask me, hey, for the next 3 months when I'm in my new job, I need my life to be super stable, implying that I need to keep my shit together so as not to disturb this person's feelings.
Wow.
So I told them, hey, I completely understand where you're coming from and what you're saying, but I cannot be responsible for your emotions.
Good. Yeah.
So it's up to all of us to take responsibility for that and to create in our own lives. And what we also talked about is that when it comes to all this manifestation stuff, like we're careful with our words, we're mindful of with what we're writing down and all of that, but don't think you're so good at this. Don't think you're so much of a god that if you write something bad about someone, that they will suffer or think something, right? Because you're only creating in your experience and not someone else's.
It's so common in the sort of metaphysical or new age or spiritual field to become really arrogant and sort of supercharged with ego, because you think that you're powerful, or you've like claimed this kind of like, oh, you know, I'm above you because I tuned in with whatever. You know, it's so common, and I think it's really necessary to check in with your ego every hour. You know, get it out of the way.
Every minute.
Every minute, right? Right. Yeah, that really raised some interesting points. Thank you for humouring that discussion. Carl is joining us. I'll welcome Carl and then Anna Lee. I'd like to come to you after I speak to Carl, and I know that you've been doing some research, and I'm really interested to hear about what your findings are. I just want to say welcome, Carl, that's joined us. How are you?
I'm good. Sorry I'm late, everyone.
It's all good. Good to see
Long
you.
time no see.
Yes, I saw Anna this afternoon.
Oh, you saw each other? Oh, that's nice. So Anna Lee Stone has been doing some research, and please tell us about it.
Sure. So in my graduate program, I'm working on my new thesis, and I started off, going down the direction of that, what's the common feature between people that have abilities or psychic gifts, and it seems to be traumatic childhoods, backgrounds, etc. So I was thinking, perhaps that trauma can make one psychic, and that's pretty standard, actually, like across the people. That's kind of the narrative. However, as I was doing my exploratory research for my thesis to get approval from the board, I came across some new information that took my research in a possibly completely different direction. So the Institute for Noetic Sciences just did a pilot study last year on genetic differences between people that are psychic and people that are not. And so I'm not exactly sure yet. I'm trying to get in contact with them. I've already put in requests to find out what their standard was to say somebody was psychic, right? But let's just suffice it to say this is peer-reviewed work. And they had some determinant that here these people are psychic, and then these people are not, so they're the control group of non-psychic. And what they found was there is a difference. That the difference is not, it's not that the psychics had something extra, it's that the psychics don't have something extra. The ones that are not psychic have an activation on chromosome 7 of this non-coding gene that has to do with serotonin reuptake. So what that means is like how people process stress, like how their bodies actually handle stress. So it's now looking like at some point in our evolution, possibly, okay, this is my hypothesis, possibly the majority of people way back were born or had the tendency to be psychic as the norm. Because of the fact that we didn't have communication like we have now. We had to be on high alert at all times to make sure we survived, like hunting, gathering stuff. Over time, that became something that was frowned upon with the advent of the church, especially when going after people that had abilities, like, and killing them. Like, it would be reasonable to think that parents, if they saw these traits in their children, would be like, shush, like, no, like, we're not in. Over time, this like systematic suppression became a gene activation that turned on, and that's where we are now. So what's the difference is, okay, so now I'm looking at, well, what's the difference between the people? Again, it's trauma, right? So now it's like, okay, what about trauma inhibits that activation of the gene? And what I'm finding is that the amount of energy expended to protect a child from the trauma that they're experiencing by dissociation or whatever is so great that, and these things would occur at the same time in childhood, like the late childhood, like 6, 7, 8 years old, something around that time is when the gene would be activated, turned on. So psychic, and we all know this, kids are psychic. Like, kids, they're naturally like that. A lot of them are, not everybody, but a lot. So that gets shut off at some point. It gets turned off and we stop it. And it's either parents saying no, or it just stops naturally. But like, it happens at the same age that this damage from trauma happens. So it's like, okay, so the expenditure of energy is so great from the trauma that your body literally doesn't have the energy reserves to activate that gene, thus leaving you in that natural DNA signature state of having these abilities. And again, not everybody has it, but the figure is 97.5% of people with psychic abilities report having severe or moderate to severe childhood trauma. So like, this is my new avenue of research now, is like, okay, what about trauma actually would possibly prevent this activation from taking place? And is that even correct? But right now, this new research is like pretty astounding, because we actually now have actual tangible evidence that there's a difference between people that have abilities and people that don't. And funny enough, some of the people that were in the group that were not psychic, right, actually had the gene, like didn't have the gene. And they were like, oh, well, and then they started reporting, well, I've always had like an intuition thing or whatever, right? And so they kind of like realized, oh, wait a minute, maybe that was more than what I thought it was, because again, we've been trained that it's all fake, it's not real. So they were even doubting that, their own hits from coming from intuition, they weren't even acknowledging them. But the people that absolutely didn't had no, like, they were like, no, what are you talking about? That's never happened to me. Like, they've never had these moments that I think most of us here, right, I'm sure have had, like, where we just know something somehow. And so I think it's pretty interesting. And that's what I'm going for now, is to try to figure this out. And I mean, hopefully it's not a fool's errand. It might be, but I can't help but to get excited about this, because it's actually scientifically sound research that shows an actual difference in people. And that's pretty big, especially with this topic, because we've been so against studying it for so long. Yeah.
Is it, you have a question, Bonnie?
I do, because Annalise shared with me last night a video, and I hope that she'll share it here. And it's kind of parallel to what she's talking about. And it was about the CIA.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Yeah. So I took my psychology student. I have one student that I teach privately for the movie studios here in Los Angeles. And I have one high school psychology student. I took her on a field trip to Museum of Psychiatry. Okay, first of all, that was a lot. It was a very depressing field trip. But in that field trip, they had a display of CIA documents that they've gotten through the Freedom of Information Act. And there's actively right now, not kidding, not joking, not conspiracy theorists, like, I've read it myself from the actual government documents, that they're actually purposely putting out sound frequencies into the environment to suppress psychic ability in individuals within the population.
Wow.
What? You can't take photos in there, but I wrote down everything. It's called Project Wedding Bells and Trident. And it's the whole 5. I'm like, okay, I can't be I know everyone was freaking out about 5G, but actually that's what they're doing. And it's been going on since HARP, and they've been doing this. And I'm just like, what? I mean, it doesn't say if they're successful, but it says that's their part of their goal. And I just find it fascinating that they're that concerned about it, that they're literally for decades now have been doing this. It's mind-blowing to me personally. But I found a document that discusses it. So if you guys want it, I can gladly link it for you.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you. Could you put it on the Facebook
Yeah.
page for Sacred Segments?
Absolutely.
You know, a friend of mine who's a homeopath, a teacher of homeopaths in Devon, she created a page. I need to invite her to Sacred Segments to speak about her findings and research in exactly the area that you're talking about. I was just going to mention that what you were talking about reminded me of epigenetics for a start.
Mm-hmm.
Also link it to MK Ultra.
Yeah. Well, it started with starts. This one's like emerging from Stargate, like that one where they were doing the remote viewing.
Yeah.
Because they had success with that, and they said they didn't, but like they did. Like if you read the actual report, there's definitely like they say it's not enough to be like sending people out to fight like based on information, but it is enough to get back hostages from Iran and like all kinds of things that happened back then. Like they actually were able to recover people that were held hostage like via remote viewing. So like that's
yes.
I didn't know that.
Remote viewing has been used for decades as as a spying method and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, there's a new project in Utah in Cedar City where I went to college. And there's a new project from the guy that was this person that created, like was running the program in the beginning. He's now starting his own thing in Cedar City. Or he did already start his own thing, and now he's training people again.
It's a fascinating topic. It's an area of study that I'm really interested in. Thank you for sharing that. It's really fascinating. Does anybody else have any thoughts or comments on that?
I guess, well, a couple of things that sprang to mind, because what the CIA might be doing, but then has it, like they didn't say whether it was effective, but presumably that's not happening all over the world, and yet it doesn't seem like the US has got fewer psychic people than everywhere else. So I think I wonder if it's just a fear thing or whether they're just doing exploratory stuff. But also I think like really gifted psychics that would be successful at remote viewing are probably few and far between. And it's probably much more interesting to find what makes the truly gifted ones better than the average ones. And with the analysis from the noetic sciences, did they give any kind of percentages around, how significant the finding?
No, that's why I reached out through my school, email. So she took me through and asked these questions, because as a researcher, like I need to know, what were your standards? Like, how do we determine a psychic ability? What was the bar, and it didn't say. So that's a problem for me. That's why I'm being cautious when I'm talking about it, because, but with regard to
I've heard.
But
sorry, I was just going to say, I've heard that, you don't have to be psychic at all to learn remote viewing.
All right.
You can learn it with zero psychic ability.
right. I mean, but is that more than just the probability of chance at that point? Like, because with the CIA, like the ones that they're talking about, the really successful ones, like Carl's asking, like they're not, so they had people from different countries. They weren't just American. They had Ari Geller, who was from Russia. And they had then somebody from here, I can't remember his name, but they're from all over the world.
He's been working in that field. He's been working for the Americans for a long time.
Right. But he got brought over for that. Like that's where,
yeah.
So he was very, they were very impressed with him, very much so.
Yeah.
Because
he's a fascinating
probability of chance, right? Like so many, if you guess 100 times, what's the percentage that you're probably going to be right, And so it had to be above that bar by a significant amount. But again, like how much is a significant amount is important to know.
Very interesting. Thank you. Okay, we're going to shift topics now. And Bonnie, I'm going to call on you if you're feeling up to it to talk about maca root for healing, because you mentioned in your messages that maca root was the healing herb or root that you were going to bring to our focus today.
I have not done anything because of my eye. I did draw a card for today that I did not study anymore on maca. I can't.
Okay.
But today, hard, that light hit my eye. Is the passion flower.
Oh, yes.
Okay, now where's my glasses? I can't read the card. Passion flower. Okay, and so, I mean, what we were talking about originally, this was so appropriate, and I don't know why I can't find my glasses to read it to you, but it gets into the spiritual part, and that's what this passion flower represents. Actually its leaves are 5, I believe, and there's 5 different areas of it that are spiritual and intended, and that's all I can tell you, honestly. And I have to tell you, okay, so I complain about the spasms in my legs all the time. So I have been through everything that I know to help that. And I get what's called the corticate and decerebrate spasms, and that means either towards the cord or away from the cord. And so it usually takes a medication, but that oil that I made, I've been trying to reach my doctor to tell her this stuff is, I mean, it lasts for a couple of hours, but it's the only thing that's really helped my spasms. And so that's the oil that I created in the kitchen when you were watching that day. And I added the whole bag of mugwort into it, and I have not noticed any extended dreaming, but I've noticed some sound sleeping, much sounder sleeping than I usually have.
Well, you know what's also great for leg tremors is high doses of magnesium.
I'm taking 1,000 milligrams a day now.
Good, and also the application of magnesium, as a rub, because my partner suffers with restless leg and is also a drummer, so there's like constant drumming happening in the sleep, and the awake times.
Well, the spasm's like a heartbeat. It's not. We don't control it. Where you can tell a restless leg, you can look down at that leg and say stop, and it will stop momentarily. But you can't tell a spasm to stop. A spasm, women get. I know you're not a woman, but I think athletes get them too. I'm not sure, but we get them in the middle of the night sometimes, and it hurts so bad because your feet, and you can't tell it stop. It's gonna. And if you press against it, it hurts worse. So anyway, whatever I put in that, so I used hot peppers and mugwort. I used a lot of hot peppers. I can't remember everything that I put in there, but it was mainly to see how the mugwort worked. So anyway,
I want to mention the two herbs that we brought up. Passion flower. I just had a look at what of the uses, and it helps with sleep and anxiety. So insomnia, passion flower is great for, and the other uses are any kind of pain, stress, burns, heart rhythm problems, hemorrhoids, and attention hyperactivity disorder or ADHD, which I didn't know, which is really interesting. And the last thing, maca, particularly.
Do you remember about a year and a half ago?
We did mention it. It's very good for men, but also the libido of men, but it's also good for menopause.
Mhm.
So it tastes quite sweet as well. So if you want to give up sugar, which I do, you could replace it with maca and then enjoy the health benefits. But in moderation, right?
Thanks for looking that up for me. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
thank you. Also, it helps with mood and energy. So thank you for bringing those healing things to our attention, Bonnie. Um, Anna, um, Anna Pavlakis. Yes, I wanted to ask you now about what were your thoughts for today? What would you like to discuss?
About in my segment or in general?
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
yes.
yes.
I was like, my thoughts for today. Um, yes, I wanted to share. Is it my segment now? Is that
Yes.
is this the go? Okay. Yes, what I wanted to share with you guys today is one of the tools that I use from time to time for doing a quick energy clearing on myself. One of my spiritual teachers, the last human one that I had, was a student of Dr. Joshua David Stone. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He was he was a psychologist who also channeled all kinds of works on ascension. But what I love about him is that he focused on the importance of doing your psychology in terms of your spiritual growth. That in order to to ascend, if you believe in ascension, or in order to really go further on your spiritual path, what you must do is learn how to deal with your negative ego going through with your subconscious mind. So I really love his work, and it has been a foundational thing for my spiritual practice and my work. And so there's a meditation that's very easy to do, and it's called the Spiritual Whirlwind Meditation. And so it's a very nice tip technique that you can do. And in order to activate it, you begin by reciting the soul mantra. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that. Alice Bailey channeled Dwakul, Ascended Master Dwakul, and the soul mantra I think is very beautiful, and I often use it in my meditations and prayers and so forth. And you can write this down if you want, or I can later put it in the chat. And it's very simple. It's I am the soul, I am the light divine, I am love, I am will, I am fixed design. I'll say it again. I am the soul, I am the light divine, I am love, I am will, I am fixed design. So you begin by reciting that mantra, and it's a great mantra to use anyway. It actually raises your vibration and helps you get into alignment with your soul and with source. So the spiritual whirlwind meditation is designed to clean out the gunk that can fill up our aura. Okay, so all kinds of psychic debris, which we all have this. Everybody has this. It's not like, oh, I've got it's normal. We're out in the world. We have our own thoughts that we're dealing with and managing. We're picking up other people's stuff. So all kinds of psychic debris, negative thought forms, stagnant energy, and so on. So the purpose of this is to clear it out. out of your auric field. And the great thing, yes, thank you for writing that. Thank you, Anna, for writing that in, to clear it out. So what you do is you visualize, it's a whirlwind, but I like to see it as more like a tornado. Okay, so picture a tornado with the funnel going down like that. Okay. And so what you do, and we can do it together if you would like to experience this with me. And the great thing about this too is that you can do it as many times as you need to. I usually do it like maybe 3 times on, for like an average kind of day. I'll do it 3 times. Sometimes I'll do it more, sometimes a lot. Sometimes, you might spend an hour doing it, but I think the benefit of this one is that it's something that can be done very quickly. So we're going to say the soul mantra 3 times, and then I'll just walk you through the practice. Then you visualize the spiritual whirlwind high above you, right? Where your soul would be. And the funnel tip is going down like this, right? Above your head. And so then you say, in the wisdom of the soul, I invoke the spiritual whirlwind. In the wisdom of the soul, I invoke the spiritual whirlwind. You could also say the spiritual vortex, if you like the word vortex. I kind of like saying whirlwind, but you can say vortex. And then visualizing it moving through you, moving down through you, okay, washing through you, clearing out all the skunk, like sometimes I think of, if you remember the cartoon with was it Bugs Bunny, the Tasmanian Devil? I don't know if you knew the Tasmanian. I like to visualize the Tasmanian Devil, actually, kind of just moving down through your energy grid and then releasing it into the earth. Okay, and allowing the earth to just take it and transmute it. And so you can do it as many times as you need to do. And your higher self is working with you to do this. So would you like to practice this now? Thumbs up? Yep, okay, great. So we're gonna say again 3 times the soul mantra first, okay? And I'll begin, you can say it out loud, or if you want to say it in your head, it's okay. But I think in this case, saying it out loud, I think is more powerful. Just take a breath for a second. I am the soul. I am the light divine. I am love. I am will. I am fixed design. I am the soul. I am the light divine. I am love. I am will. I am fixed design. I am the soul. I am the light divine. I am love. I am will. I am fixed design. And then visualize the spiritual whirlwind above your head and say, in the wisdom of the soul, I invoke the spiritual whirlwind or spiritual vortex. In the wisdom of the soul, I invoke the spiritual whirlwind. And just allow it to come down through your aura, through your energy body. Cleaning it all out, bringing it down into the earth. And I feel like I want to do it 3 times all together. So you don't have to say the soul mantra 3 times, but you can say the other one. In the wisdom of the soul, I invoke the spiritual whirlwind. And allowing it again. To go even deeper. Cleansing our fields, our energy bodies, our aura of all that gunk, releasing it into the earth. One more time, in the wisdom of the soul, I invoke the spiritual whirlwind. Yet to come down, spinning, whirling through you, all and releasing all the way down into Mother Earth, our beautiful Mother Earth, allowing her to, in her infinite goodness, take this and transmute it. And you can do this. I like it because it's a good thing you can do in an emergency situation. Like, for example, Alexis, I know you had a rough night. So in that situation that you were in last night, it would have been, a very useful practice while waiting to be doing that, right? So anytime you're under severe stress, or you just feel like you need a little cleansing, clearing, it's a nice, I think it's I like simple things, and it's pretty simple, right? I like simple things. And so I don't know, how was that for you guys? I don't know. Did you enjoy that?
That was great. I have a question.
Did it feel good? Sorry for my terrible internet connection tonight. It's really bad.
I have a question about the visualization of the vortex. And does it matter which way you do it? Which direction?
I don't think so. I see it going this way.
Okay.
I've never seen in the descriptions of it, I've never seen that mentioned, actually. It's a good question. I think go with whatever you see. I'm not a great visualizer. I'll be the first one to admit, like when I have to do meditations that involve visualization, that is not my strength. My visualizing comes when I do sessions and I'm in a shamanic journey, but otherwise I'm not so great at visualizing.
I have encountered this this vortex idea before, this the whirlwind as a cleanser, but thank you for embodying it in a very specific, structured and measured way. That's really really cool.
It is like 3 steps. Yeah, the 3 steps.
Cool.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question also? I'm just curious as to the meaning of fixed design in the mantra. What take from that?
Sorry, I'm sorry.
The meaning of fixed design in the mantra. What, it just seems a strange. I mean, I know there's the other great.
I thought that as well.
My understanding of that is that we have our soul blueprint, right? We are designed, source designed us.
Okay.
And it's tapping into our original
blueprint. Okay.
Okay.
That's how I've always interpreted it.
Okay, that would make sense. Yeah.
Thank you, Anna.
You're welcome.
I want to welcome Anne that's joined us. Hello. And also Chadwick. Hello. How are you, Anne?
I'm good. I'm doing very well.
Good. Where are you joining us from?
Denver, Colorado.
Cool. How did you hear about Sacred Segments?
Through Chadwick.
Thank you, Chadwick. Good to see you again. How are you? You're muted. Could you unmute?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Good to see y'all again. I was excited for this next meeting.
Yes. I know that there's been a time change in America, so we've been going an hour already. We've only got just under half an hour left, and I want to allow 20 minutes for Greta. But in the 8 minutes that we have before Greta's segment, I want for us all to set an intention, and I will start. I just like to ask us all to take a breath, and while we do that, to think about what it is that we would like to intend for ourselves and for this coming month, actually. So let's just take that breath. I intend to be very grounded in my energy and to complete all the tasks that I need to complete in this month with serenity, focus, and groundedness. That's my intention. Anna Pavlakis, what are your thoughts? Intention.
Okay. I intend to two things: create more structure for myself and my business, and in conjunction with that, to open myself to limitless possibilities for my highest and best good in terms of work, friendships, love, and joy.
Beautiful. Thank you. I'm going to jump around. Chadrick?
I want to stay true to my boundaries and morals and virtues, as well as develop.
Hold on. I'm going to stop you because you said I want to. Okay, and remember, our language is very important, and we are creative beings. And when you putting out into the universe, I want, you will remain wanting. So
Okay.
I would like to give you the gift of intention. Say it again, but start with I intend.
I intend to stay true to my virtues, morals, and boundaries.
Yes. Love it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anne.
I intend to stay focused and grounded in my soul's calling. And I intend to remain mindful of my internal focus and how it affects my external focus.
Ooh, that was deep. Just processing that for a moment. Thank you. Greta.
I intend to follow my intuition and say yes, even if it's scary.
Wow. Thank you. Bonnie.
Whoops. I got a vision of a tree with a enlarging trunk. I hope that's not something in the future, but becoming more tree-like.
Wow, that's interesting. You know, last night, some of you may know, my partner hit his head and needed stitches, and we were in the hospital till 5 a.m. And as the nurse was dressing his head and injecting the steroids or whatever, it was obviously very traumatic. I remembered and said out loud so that I could deal with the stress. Whenever I'm at the dentist, this is what I said. Whenever I'm at the dentist, I visualize an oak tree. And they were both like, weirdo kind of thing. They didn't say that, but I could feel it. And it's because it helps me to have a focus. And your tree, Bonnie, reminded me of that. You know, it's such a powerful symbol, the oak, and it's so strong and rooted.
By the way, it was an oak too.
Oh wow! And that makes me miss Paul being here and his segment on trees. Thank you. You just brought him into our field, and thank you for that gift of the oak. Beautiful. Thank you. Okay, Anna Lee Stone. Intention.
I will be maintaining boundaries in personal relationships, unlike I have done in the past, not like how I was in the past, and also be focusing my business to be more lucrative and reach more people. And also my research, I will be sticking to that and making sure that whatever work I do is going to be for my highest good and the collective as well, the information that I bring forward. That's what I'm going to be doing.
Powerful, very beautiful. Thank you. I appreciate you being here. Thank you. And Carl?
I intend to evolve my spiritual gifts with openness, trust, confidence, and courage.
Wow. Felt really strong. Beautiful. Well, thank you. Just before I come to you, Greta, I'm going to read one more card from the Abraham deck, which is called The Law of Attraction Cards, Esther and Jerry Hicks, The Teachings of Abraham. And I chose it earlier, and it says, I'm not here to create sameness. I'm just trying to understand and really process that. On the reverse, it says, there are as many different worlds as there are perceivers, beings, or individuals. You're not here to create one world where everyone is the same. Wanting and getting the same. You are here to be that which you want to be, while you allow all others to be that which they want to be. And it kind of reflects on the card that I picked earlier, which was a couple of you weren't here for that. But Greta, can you just remind us what that was? Because it had some synchronicity with your previous group.
Wait, remind me again what you want me to do.
Do you remember I mentioned the card that I drew earlier, and you mentioned something about the intention of the you were working with a group beforehand, and there was synchronicity.
We were, yeah, we were talking about something in that Abraham quote of, you can only create in your own reality and you can't create in other people's realities.
Exactly. Yes, that's it. So we're all individuals and we all have our own thought processes and we're all creative beings, and we can't experience exactly the same as another person. And I think we need to remember that, right? Because we search that out and we crave it, don't we? That sameness. We want to experience that in our love relationships and, in our getting together here and now. We want that oneness, which we are in essence, but we're all different. So with that, Greta is going to do some healing work for us.
Yes, thank you, Alexis. Today, I actually want to address something that I've been reading up on a lot lately, which is hormones. And I find the more I learn, the more fascinated I am. And the fact that our hormones are our signaling system to a lot of different parts of the body. So when our bodies want something to happen, different parts of the body, it uses hormones as a signal for multiple parts of the body. So for instance, your sex hormones don't necessarily only signal your genitalia or any other part of your body to do something, but they also affect your brain. So that means that if your hormones are out of whack, that can cause a lot of trouble. And it also means that compounds that mimic our hormones can be scary, or they can cause a lot of trouble. And it also means that if you have a lot of different problems, there may be one source, and if you correct that, that may resolve all the problems. So I find that really fascinating. And I am a biologist and a bit of a nerd, so plus I have a lot of problems. So, you know. And maybe figuring out hormones can solve a lot of them. So what I wanted to do today was to do emotion code around hormonal balance for all of us, whatever that might mean to each and every one of you, to release emotions that are blocking you from being in balance. How does that sound? Thumbs up if you're in. Raise the roof if you're happy. Yeah. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. So I'll include all of you in the group if you want me to, and if not, just send me a thought and you won't be included. Also, anyone watching will be included, plus any of my sisters if they want to be included. And you can send out, like, if any of your loved ones, send out an invitation to them, and if they want to, they will be included. All right, so my name is the group. My name is Greta. Okay. So are there any trapped emotions we can release to help all of us be in perfect hormonal balance? Yes. Discouragement. And remember, if your hormones are out of whack, it can affect the way you feel and the thoughts you think. So just wanted to mention that. For me, that means there's nothing wrong with me. The fact that I'm having this thought is okay. I'm okay. It's just chemicals. You know, it's just some chemicals doing their thing. It's okay. It's not a crisis. It's just, you know, which is comforting. It's really comforting to me. So let's release this trapped emotion of discouragement. I think some comfort, you know, some self-love and some chill. It's okay. All right, anything else? Yes. Jealousy. Swiping jealousy. Good, that's really also feel like swiping for forgiveness, to forgive anyone who has contributed to this imbalance. So just to forgive anyone, everyone, all of them, they, them, those mofos, whatever, wherever they are. And maybe even send them some love, because, you know, they need it too. Good. More, yes. Conflict. Conflict. The image that comes to mind is your poor receptors on the surface of your cells, and the conflict between the real hormones and the xenohormones, or, you know, whatever is trying to take their place. So releasing conflict, but it can be whatever it is for you. So whatever comes to mind for you when I say the emotion is usually what it's about. Dread. So release this trapped emotion of dread. So released, yes. Indecisiveness. Let's release indecisiveness. Good. Guilt. Let's release this trapped emotion of guilt. Good. Next one that's coming up is stress. Lots of stress. So let's swipe for a while to release all that stress. Take a deep breath in and out. Maybe shake it off if you want to. Y'all look great. Anger. Good. Creative insecurity. Let's release that. Released, good. More anger. Hey, I'm on a call, just so you know. Welcome home. That's my beautiful sister.
My beautiful sister.
Look what I just found on the parking.
A big screw?
Yes.
No.
Oh.
She's also wise and caring and kind and wonderful.
Lovely to meet you.
Oh.
That's cute.
We're doing some group healing here.
Right.
I'm in charge.
Okay. I will go walk the dog.
Thank you. You're the best.
What's your name?
Wenke.
Say again.
Wenke.
Venkat.
Wenke,
Nice to meet you.
Nice to see you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay. So, more.
There was some more anger.
Oh yeah. First there's some crying. Let's release that crying. Good.
I like Bonnie's. Like she's in a room with Mike Tyson. Fighting that anger.
I'm really enjoying our healing session today. It's so full of life. Thanks to all of you. Overwhelm. So let's release that. And anger, Alexis. Here's some more anger for you. Let's get rid of it. Confusion. Confusion. Releasing confusion. All right, so I'm being led to find something in the body code related to this. And it's an essential oil. So let's see which one. Myrtle. I don't know much about myrtle. Maybe Bonnie knows, but myrtle.
I don't know offhand. I know it has something to do with healing, but I can't read because of my eyes. So maybe Alexis can.
Yeah, I have some info right here. It prevents infections, eliminates bad odor, it's an expectorant, it maintains healthy nerves, relaxes the body, it's an aphrodisiac and eases breathing. It also fights infections. And lastly, it can help things like hemorrhoids, acne, pimples, cystitis, infections in the urinary tract, and chronic problems like leukorrhea, which I've never heard of. But a word of caution, there is an intermittent risk in using myrtle. Always pay attention to your body's reaction to any new substance or supplement. And, you can blend it with other things and consult a doctor if anything unusual occurs. But essential oils are amazing. Thank you, Greta, for bringing that one.
I also have that it's a natural adaptogen, which means it's one of those oils that can help stimulate or calm down bodily functions if they're overacting or underacting. So it's one of those adaptogen oils.
Yeah, it says a hormone balance too.
Oh, that's perfect. They've been talking about hormones. How amazing.
Let's swipe in all that positive energy of myrtle to help all of us in all the ways that myrtle can. And if you feel called to get it and use it in some kind of way, you can. And if not, just enjoy swiping in that energy.
And I'd just like to bring up at this point that it's brilliant what you just said about connecting with the energy of myrtle, because like a quality, for instance, Einstein or Nikola Tesla, who were geniuses, right? We can just by thinking about them bring those energies into our body, and just by thinking about myrtle or a crystal that we love, we can bring that energy into our being just by a thought. We don't actually need the oil. So thank you.
That's it from me today. Thank you.
Awesome. That was amazing. Thank you. And isn't it interesting how synchronicity shows us that we're on the right path? In so many different ways. It's really magical. And before a lot of you joined, we were talking about signs from the animal kingdom or in numbers or, through a song, and how the universe talks to us in different ways, I'd like to close this session with two things. And one of them is gratitude. And I'm going to go around the group and ask you to say one thing that you are grateful for. And the other thing is a power word, so that we can connect with the energy of that word. And thank you, everybody, for your contribution from being here this evening. It's beautiful to see you. It's beautiful to connect with you. Thank you to everybody that spoke about all different things. We all make this such a wonderful meeting. Thank you. So a power word and something that we're grateful for, and it could be about somebody else or ourselves. So I'll start. I am grateful for synchronicity, magic, and mystery. And my power word is universal abundance. 2 words. I'm going to ask Anne.
I am grateful for the abundant support of spirit, and my power word is empowerment.
Beautiful. Thank you, Anne. Great to meet you.
Thank you.
Chadwick.
I am grateful for the unlimited love and support from Spirit as well. And also, my power word is love.
The best. Love that. Thank you. Carl.
Ooh, so I am grateful for the gift of curiosity and learning. And my power word is insight.
Did you say inside?
Insight.
Insight. Wow. Cool. Thank you. Bonnie, would you like to share?
Sure. I'm very thankful that I saw the tree today. And my power word is to get rooted and slow down.
Did you say get rooted?
Get rooted like the tree.
Yeah, and slow down.
And slow down.
Wow. Grateful to have you here, Bonnie. Thank you. Glad you could make it today.
Thank you.
Annalise Stone, would you like to go next?
Sure. Grateful for finally starting to find people that I resonate with, that I can relate to in this whole journey. And my power is to nil desperandum, which is my family motto for never despair.
Oh, that's so cool. Love that. Thank you. Anna Pavlakis, would you like to go next?
I'm grateful for the power of discernment. And my power word is allies.
Wow, that's really powerful. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Greta.
I'm grateful for my sisters, and my power word is support.
That's such a beautiful way to close this. Appreciate all of your support and being here and connecting with you. And look, we finished on time, which is an amazing thing in itself. Yay. Love you all. And hope to see you again in a couple of weeks. And, feel free to bring your thoughts and ideas and connect on the Facebook group. Anna Pavlakis, if you would like to share the exercise you did on the Facebook group, please do. And Annalise Stone, if you want to share your research on that Facebook group and the other things that you mentioned, that would be awesome.
I'll do that now.
Thank you for your insights and thank you for your beautiful words, everyone. Really grateful for you all. Have a wonderful rest of your day wherever you are.
Thank you.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.